No, Marcus was great. You saw that coming in the last 2 days of practice. He was terrific on Thursday in practice when we went live. I think he probably benefited as much as anybody from being out for a couple of the last regular season games. I think 2 of the last 4, 2 of the last 3. So I thought he did a really good job, and we need him to. I mean, I thought he played big and strong and rebounded the ball for us on the defensive end. And then he's a hard guy to guard with bigs because he spreads the floor for you.
Paul Flannery, SB Nation.
Hi, Paul.
Hey, Brad. What keyed that third quarter for you guys, especially defensively?
Well, I'll go back and look at it, and I think there will always be they probably had some possessions they'd like to, some shots they'd like to have back. They missed some shots, but we were really connected. We were really playing hard. We were really flying around. That doesn't mean you'll always get stops, and there's probably some bounces that didn't go their way, but we gave up 2 or 3, maybe 4 rolls and dunk/layups there in the second quarter, and we wanted to be a lot better at protecting the rim and the paint first.
Mark Murphy, Boston Herald. Brad, did you guys start out a little tight, and was it just a matter of sort of getting through that initially?
I was asked that at halftime too. That's not fair to Indiana. I mean, those guys guarded their butts off, and that looked like a 1980s playoff game in a lot of ways with the score, but it's tough. Like, those guys are tough. They're physical. For us to say that we were just tight and we missed shots would not be fair to them. I thought that they were tremendous defensively, and they did some things a little differently than they had in the last 2 games. In a lot of ways, I just told Abby, this is not like game 1. This was almost like game 3 because we had played each other, a couple of times in the recent weeks. So we have a lot to get better at to make sure that we get the looks we want and then knock them in. But we missed some open looks in the first half, but we also, there were times where we didn't own our space, and and they were very physical with us.
Jared Weiss, The Athletic. Nate was just up there saying that you guys were very physical defensively. How important was it to establish that right out the gate, really set the tone for the series?
Both teams were, Jared. I mean, I think that if you this is not a series for the timid. I mean, we've known that going in. This is a heck of a team with a heck of a coach, and we're going to have to play. The minute you left your foot off the gas or don't play the right way, you're going to get beat.
Coach Sherrod Blakely, NBC Sports Boston. In the third quarter was when the tide seemed to flow in your direction, and Al Horford had a lot to do with that.
Yeah.
Just speak to what he meant in that critical juncture tonight or today, and just his value as a whole for this team going forward.
Yeah, he was great on the glass. He was great protecting the paint. I thought he was just good generally defensively with good ball pressure on their bigs on some of their handoffs. And then offensively, he had a couple of key baskets there, the spin and one to tie it. After we had a couple of, even though we started the third quarter on a run, it was like it took a while to get the run going. We missed a couple of possessions, but he's our stabilizer in a lot of ways. We need to do probably a better job of giving him space and getting him into advantageous actions as a team and as a coaching staff. And so that's what we'll try to figure out.
Steve? Steve Belpet, Boston Herald. Brad, getting back to the physical issue, you guys seem to be even more so in the third quarter coming out after halftime. It seemed to have a big effect. Was that kind of a point that had to be made at the break?
I mean, the biggest point we made at the break was protecting the paint. And not as much physicality-wise, but more just from the standpoint of those rolls that I talked about where they got down the middle of us, on us, and laid it in. And, I mean, you can't give teams layups. And you got to challenge shots as well as you can. And then rebounding and owning your space on offense has been our number 1 and 2 emphases for the last 4 days. So it's disappointing the way that they got up under us a little bit. We knew that they would come at us. You watch the film of the last few game 1s they've played at Cleveland last two years, at Toronto the year before. Like, they get after you, and we knew that was coming. still shocked us a little bit. But we did a great job on the glass for the most part. I don't even know what the numbers are, but it felt like we did.
Final question, Coach, from Chris Gasper.
Chris Gasper, Boston Globe. Brad, I know it's been a challenge at times this year to get the most out of this group. So how do you look at this game? It's a game where you shoot 36% from the field and have 17 turnovers, but it's a double-digit win.
Yeah, best, maybe the best combination for our team is it was hard. It wasn't pretty. Things went against us. Even a couple of bounces went against us in the first half where they picked it up and hit end of shot clock plays or putbacks. But you've got to stay together and you've got to grind it out. And so there'll be games where we make a lot of shots and it'll make us look better than we played. Today we played a little bit better than we looked, and we just have to be a little bit better owning our space.